Hi everyone, and welcome to another e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatella, and today we're going to continue and we're going to go right into negotiations. Great. So when we get into negotiations, it's a transition phase, and we're going from objections to negotiations. And what we want to do first and foremost when this is happening, when the customer objects, we need to pause. I mentioned this before in the past, where we need to not say anything and listen to the customer and accept the fact that they're objecting, and certainly nod and say thank you. But before you say thank you, you need to pause and wait for a few seconds, just in case a customer, depending on the communication style, might react nervously and counter their own objections. If they don't, you thank them, and we'll start by addressing the objection. By doing this, we are connecting, showing that you care, and you could say also something in your mind, or say to them, I hear what you're saying, I really do, and you nod your head in that context. What you want to do overall is to diffuse this situation. You do not want to make it worse than it is. So the less you say at this stage, the better it is. So now, how do you respond to all those types of objections? Let's take a look and see what we can do. There's a few that you could use. Let's go through them. We could use the boomerang. We could question. We could rephrase. We can defer. We can use a uniqueness response, or also implicate or implication. So these are the 6 that we're going to use, and see which one you prefer when it comes to your role play. Going through them, boomerang, this one really is you're using their objection like a boomerang. So if you don't know what a boomerang does, is if you throw it, it comes around and it comes right back at you. So this is turning them around and use what they say to prove them wrong. It says that they are right in what they're saying. So here's a way or answers that you can use, and you should use some of these in your role play. So you can't really say to me, Tony, I don't know how to answer all this. Well, that really is not fair to me, because I gave you so many questions already, and I want you to stay away from those questions that you all use about color and about size. I've given you a lot of open-ended questions. Do not use those closed questions when it comes to qualifying your customer. So here again, I give you a lot of questions that you can use, or types of questions. Again, these questions, you can take them and change them and make them what you want. So here are some examples. On that, you are right. Now let me demonstrate. So you mentioned this, and away you go. So another one that you could do is, I am happy that you noticed that. Again, here's another one. Yes, it is expensive, but I don't think you would want to buy your wife a cheap present. Again, you don't have to use those words. You can change them. Or certainly, if you do not have the money today, then we can arrange another payment method. Again, you are countering everything that they're saying and throwing it right back at them. So this is a boomerang. The next one is question or questioning. This is where you're very interrogative, and it really makes it easier to identify what the fears are for the customer. So this leads customer to explain their objection. So you need more information. Again, the formality level comes really low here when it comes to objections, because they're objecting, and after all that you have given them as information, you have sort of the right to show power and bring down the formality level. So you could ask, what do you mean exactly? Would it be possible to clarify on what you stated? Or if understood you correctly, you need more technical information. Is that correct? Here again, you make the customer talk and give you more information. And when they do that, possibly they'll find the answer to their own objection and will be satisfied with that. Okay? So another one is to rephrase. Here you rephrase, you increase your positive aspects of the product. You ask to rephrase in many ways the objection, and also helps to mitigate the objection, helps to lessen the strength of the objection when it's rephrased differently, because when you do use different words, it might come out as less objectionable as it was from the beginning. So you can rephrase and you can say, you said that the product, and then you can continue depending on what the product is. Or let's look at this in a different way. If you are then still not convinced, may I demonstrate again? Or if I can demonstrate in a different way for you to see the benefit, again, here the formality level can be a little lower. Next one is to defer, and this is really defer means to delay. You need to concentrate on what the benefits are, and here also the customer possibly lacks a bit of understanding of what is going on, so you need to defer. And what you do is, I will get back to that in a minute. Let me first explain the benefit, pushing hard always on the benefits based again on how you qualify the customer. Again, I repeat, if you ask a customer what size you like, what's your favorite color, and things like that, you're certainly not going to give, when you get to present the product, you're certainly not going to get to the benefits. And when you get to here, there's nothing to explain because you never gave them the benefits. It's all connected. So you really need to ask those questions in qualification and do it very well. And when you get to presenting, you need to show the benefits. So the better job you do there, the easier it is to get to this degree and point here when it comes to objections. So keep that in mind. I reiterated it, but that's exactly what this is all about. Okay. Another one is uniqueness. Again, here it also helps to mitigate, reformulates the objection, and also it opens up a new direction where you make the customer question themselves on how unique they are and what they want and what they're looking for. So you can ask something like this: it's true, the product is not for everyone, right? You wouldn't like to be told that. Or people who are not good at building appreciate this product less. Again, you're not really insulting the customer, but pointing out the fact that this is a product that is not for everybody. Yes, indeed, it takes someone who has experience to appreciate this product, let's say. All right, so that's uniqueness is a very good one, depending on, again, the communication style. Another one is implicate or implication, makes customer answer their own question. It is a lot of interaction. And again here, it makes the customer understand the benefits if you've done the job properly and given the customer the benefits. As you have just said, this model does this. Let me paraphrase what you just said. Let me bring back what you pointed out earlier. So it's you, everything that the customer has said. So what do you have to do here? You need to listen. You need to understand what they're saying. This is where empathy comes and plays a big part. If you don't do that, you're not a very good sales associate. And I certainly didn't do my job very well to train you. Okay? So this is very important, that you have to listen, not just stand up there and role play and blah, 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 and that's done. So that's not going to get you through this module. I can say that very easily. Okay? So you need to be involved. You need to show empathy. You need to want to do this correctly, or else you cannot say to yourself that you are a trained sales associate. And once this is all done, there needs to be, again, going back to when you presented the product, you need to ask for feedback. Would that benefit you? Do you see what I mean? Do you have any other questions? Am I closer to having a new customer? What have I covered yet that is important to you? You need to find out what the customer thinks after you've answered their objection. Then we can go into transition to negotiation. Now in negotiation, right, the customer has the right to negotiate. And don't think that a customer doesn't have the right to negotiate depending on the store, the price is fixed and all of that. This is not true most of the time. Now, the retail sales associate plays a huge part in this, right? They need to understand a lot of things of what's going on because this is where you have the power. Now, the power means a lot of things. I'm not sure if you understood this going forward, what that means, that you have the power and the customer doesn't. But you have, when it comes to negotiation, you have the power to negotiate more than the customer. Certainly, you do not want to open negotiations. You never be the one to start the negotiations. The customer needs to say something that leads into a negotiation phase. A stage, should I say. So what you need to know and understand is that what is the company or what is the store's policy? If you do not know this and if you do not follow this, well, things are not going to come out very well for you in the first place, and might come out very well for the customer, but not for the store, and you might even end up losing your job. So you really have to know what the policy is beforehand and not run out every time and ask your manager, hey, what about this and what about this and what's our policy? So don't do that. You need to know what the policy of the store is, right? You can negotiate everywhere. This is true. There is always negotiations to be had in every type of store if it's done properly. The sales associates are trained and they're willing to negotiate only if you open the negotiations, right? So in negotiations, right, you listen to the salesperson, be polite and courteous if you want. If this is on the customer side, I should say, this is how customers would react if they want a better negotiation. Now, if they come up and they're very angry or very insulting, certainly they're not going to get anything from you. But you being a salesperson or sales associate, right, you need to be listened to. They have to be polite and courteous, right? And many ways that you can get a benefit or a negotiation strategy is more expensive the item is, the better chance that you can negotiate. That is partially true. You look for also imperfect items. You can negotiate on that. Items that are incorrectly stocked, you can get a better price. Here's some more. Try to bundle items in your mind that you can see that you want to. Again, this is from the customer's point of view. Floor models, returns. You can also become a very professional price matcher when it comes to going to these stores to get a better deal when you negotiate. Again, open box products, certainly you can negotiate. And what you have to understand is that when I say that you can negotiate in all these stores and possibly come out with something extra, we're not talking just price. Okay, so that's on the level of the side of the customer. So if you look at what is negotiation, getting what you want from another person, right? So getting something from another person, or it can be considered to negotiate. So what is negotiation? Everybody negotiates at every level, right? Children negotiate with their parents, spouses negotiate with each other, and associates negotiate with their managers or associate with their customers. So negotiations are always done everywhere. And for sure you as students in my class have all negotiated one thing or another. And as if you noticed, and my negotiations with all of you when it comes to certain things like leaving early or missing class, it's always the same answer. And I'll explain to you why that is. And certainly it keeps everything. I have policies to follow and I will not stray from them. Okay, so if you're asking me certain things about leaving early and all that, my policy does not change. It is the same thing. Okay, and like I mentioned, customers negotiate with associates. So why negotiate? You can say to convince. This is on the side of the customer that negotiates all the time. The customer wants to convince you to give them a better deal. They want to resolve a certain situation. And on your case, you want to negotiate to sell. So everybody negotiates for different reasons. But the main goal you have to always understand to get really good at negotiations is that you don't want to always come out on top. This has to be beneficial for both parties. Both parties have to come out on top. Okay, so we'll get to that in a few seconds, in a few minutes, I should say. or soon. Before we get there though, let's look at customer attitudes when it comes to how they negotiate and how they comport themselves. So customer attitudes, right? Objection, indifference, they could use that as an attitude. They can also use skepticism, and they could use also acceptance. So let's take a closer look at these customer attitudes. So acceptance, customer agrees with your benefits and has no negative feelings towards your product, but still has an issue with that, and will probably try to negotiate anyway. So try to think who would use acceptance when it comes to customer communication styles, and getting on your side but still wanting more. Again, skepticism, who would use skepticism? Customer is interested in a particular benefit but doubts whether your product can really provide the benefit. So which communication style do you think will have this type of attitude? Next one is objection. So customer displays opposition to your product. Pretty much all communication styles can have objection. Last one is indifference. Customer shows a lack of interest in your product because of no perceived need for its benefits. So here, really, you did not do your job properly. So the sales associate didn't show their benefits, so the customer shows indifference, making it very difficult for you to get close to closing the sale. Okay? We'll discuss this in more details as we go forward. Customer attitudes. Again, I'm not going to short sell anybody on this, but better you qualify, easier to negotiate. Better qualification means you listen better, the empathy was at a higher level, and at this stage when it gets to negotiation, it certainly is easier to negotiate and close the deal. Worst job you did, or by asking closed questions, not getting enough information, that's not what I'm looking for. Understand that, and it's not going to get you through. Okay? Again, the trick here is always to say less and to ask more. More information. Let them talk. The more they talk, the less you have to give, and less you have to negotiate. So this is very important. The more you talk, the more you act nervous or trying to close the sale, getting the customer closer to the cash and to the door, the harder it becomes. All right, so let's step back a little bit now just to close off on negotiations and think about when it comes to you as a sales associate and your responsibilities to the store where you work or to your business, and the customer's responsibilities to themselves, right? So let's say now, just certain situations happens where customer would lose and the associate would win the negotiations, right? So the associate is satisfied, but the customer is not. So you're satisfied, you sold, right? This is the old type of feeling, 20 years ago, where the associate needs to sell no matter what and really doesn't care what the customer gets out of it. So even if they lose it, c'est pas grave. They lost, that's their business. This is manipulation as much as possible. So this more and more we hopefully don't see going forward with all the companies that are customer centric. They're not looking for this, really not looking for the customer to lose and the associate to win. The customer will not return. Another one is win-lose, where the customer wins and the associate loses. So the customer comes out satisfied, but the associate certainly doesn't for many reasons, and one of them is the fact that he did not know the company's or the store's policy. So he is unskilled. If you don't know what the policy is, certainly do not close a sale or give a customer extra discounts if you can without getting approval. So this will get you fired, and you should not be in sales. You should find a new career. So again, as much as the customer is so close to wanting to buy that product and you are in desperate need for the commission and you need to get the money, this is not a go. Another one is customer associate and customer and associate both lose. Both are dissatisfied. So what's the problem here? How is this ever possible where the customer and the associate both lose? The customer doesn't buy and you don't get what you want. Certainly there's a big problem here when it comes to communication, right? This is the big issue here. For whatever reason, you don't want to give in, and for whatever reason, the customer won't buy from you. So he doesn't like you, you don't like the customer. This is really not what sales is all about. This is what all it does is creates stress for you as a sales associate, right? Now, how do you answer to your customer? How do you answer to your boss when asks, what happened here if the customer complains, let's say, about you? So this is very bad, right? But this happens. Now, what do we want to do? Well, we both want to win. Yes, both have to win. Customer has to win, and associate has to win all the time, right? So that means both are satisfied with the terms of the sale, right? And this is where good business relationships are developed, right? So this is the best possible outcome without breaking store policy. Not giving something to the customer when you're not allowed to, or cheating the customer. You have to be up and up, or you have to be honest when it comes to this. All right, so this is what we are looking for all the time when we want to negotiate. Now, again, if the customer at the end does not give in, if we go back to, as I mentioned before, where the customer loses and associates win, there's an issue there, right? Something happened there. Again, if you talk about that, and there has to be a win-win when it comes to negotiating. Okay. So what do you need to avoid? So let's finish off on this. Need to avoid interrupting. Interruptions means not listening, right? So when you're not listening, certainly that's what that means. So inadequate preparation also you need to avoid, right? That's also very important. And what you've got to do also is not use intimidating behavior. You also need to avoid impatience. Like I said, pause, listen to the customer, and react properly. Remain indifferent. Your body language needs to be very silent. If your body can ever be silent, this is the best time to avoid that, and you need to be very, very silent. And you don't need to argue. You need to instead of try to influence. So arguments do not work here. So these are some things that you need to avoid when it comes to negotiations, right? So we're going to do all kinds of role playing when it comes to this to add to your role playing that you have. Again, I repeat, you need to do a script, and the script has to be handed in when you do your role playing in the very end. So you can add to it, and you can add now objections, and you can add negotiations to your role playing. We're going to do all kinds of exercises when it comes to this. We're going to be looking at a whole bunch of things, as you can see in front of you. This is one exercise that I will attach to this rather long video. Oh, that's pretty long compared to the objection ones, right? So let's finish it very quickly, not to keep you guys up. So what do you need to do? It's a 3 P's, right? To get better at what you want when it comes to sales, you need to prepare. You need to practice. I certainly don't think this is happening in the class. You come to class unprepared, most of you, and I don't want to insult anybody, but or criticize, but this is true. Preparation means not to do it in class. Preparation means to do it at home. Preparation means to practice, and this is the only way you're going to perfect your sales associate role playing, and you will get better at it. Great. So on that note, I will say ciao ciao, and we will see you next time.